Dr. Traindriani Mustikawati. So her background, she is affiliated with the Department of Architecture at the Faculty of Engineering at Universitas Brawijaya in Malang, Indonesia. She did her education at Universitas Indonesia for her undergraduate program. And then during her master's program, she did her degree at Universitas Gajah Mada in Indonesia. And finally, her doctoral program at Universitas Indonesia. So Dr. Triandriani does her research area in the environment and behavior studies. And one of her most recent research project in 2017 is reading wayfinding as tours and maps operation. One of her latest conferences is International Conference on Built Environment and Engineering in Johor, Malaysia in 2018. And one of her most recent journals is entitled Tours and Maps Operation as Movement Mechanism in Indoor Wayfinding, and that is published in the International Journal of Technology, Volume 12. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Dr. Triandriani Mustikawati to start her talk on indoor wayfinding.
Thank you, Derek. Sorry.
Welcome.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Traindriani Mustikawati. I am from Universitas Brawijaya, Indonesia, and today I'd like to share some knowledge about indoor wayfinding. First of all, I would like to thank you to the Architectural Department UNIMAS for inviting us to share our architectural knowledge. It's been a great pleasure for me. Okay. Yeah, it's about today we will talk about indoor wayfinding. It's my recent research in the past few years and for my doctoral program. So to begin with, it's about the wayfinding. You might hear a lot today about wayfinding. It's actually the process of navigating from an origin to a destination in a building through the act of moving in certain direction and using environmental information. So there are quite slightly difference between wayfinding outdoor and wayfinding indoor due to the limitedness of visibility in indoor or inside the building. So sometimes it will make more difficult for us to find our destination inside the building. So we'll later discuss about how we do wayfinding inside the building. Here I'd like to underline that wayfinding is actually a spatial experience. So as an architect or for them who is involved in designing space, wayfinding is one of the activity that is involved a space. So in the process of wayfinding, people actually move from one place to another, directed by their perceptual senses, by seeing, and also by information processing inside the brain. So wayfinding involves not only sensing or reading signage, but also moving from place to place, and also memorizing not only the information, but textually, but also the spatial information, how the space related to one another. So what happens then when uh, we have a lot of complex environment, yeah, with building with big size, yeah, with the complex layout. So uh, we often get the user of the building often gets problems in wayfinding. Their the new visitor might uh, find it difficult uh, to find the destination. So the problem of getting lost in the building is quite a challenge because inside the building, especially for new visitor who is not familiar with the environment, with the building environment, they don't know where they are. They don't know where they should go, and they have difficulty to find destination. Of course, the situation is very frustrating. Yeah, and it can trigger a stress, and even in the uh, healthcare facility, it often uh, reduce the make the health condition of the patient become worse. So the impact is can be very serious. The first of all, the for the users well-being or visitors well-being, uh, finding with a problem in uh, a destination can provoke frustration and stress. And in building efficiency view, of course, it can cause the efficiency when the visitor lose their time and even opportunity or even money if they maybe miss the flight or a train, yeah, or a meeting, or important meeting, something like that. And in building accessibility view, of course, the funding problem uh, can reduce place accessibility. So when some places in the building is hard to find, so people might uh, not want to come again to the building, public building. For example, in a huge, very huge mall, yeah, when maybe some uh, stores is difficult to find. And the last is in the building safety view. So this problem of a finding can be life-threatening. They can give a life-threatening situation, and especially in emergency case. You know, for example, when there happen to be a earthquake or the case of a fire break, like something like that. So there are factors causing wayfinding problems, and of course, uh, what we will discuss here is the factors is mostly in architectural area. So the first factors that often cause wayfinding problems is the complexity of layout. So nowadays we often find building with the big in size and very with many rooms and also many corridors, and building also undergo development, of course. So maybe one masses of building uh, will be followed by another mass, and the mass will be maybe connected by corridors. But this complex layout sorry, actually will create something like a labyrinth in disguise. So when people, especially and frequent visitor, uh, who is not familiar with the environment, can get trapped in it. So the long corridor, many rooms, like the example in this illustration example, yeah, we have so many corridors with the same size, uh, and without uh, with many rooms, yeah, with many rooms, and here with only one lobby, yeah, that relate all the rooms. So this kind of layout can cause maybe trouble for new visitors in find uh, a room or a destination that they want to visit. Uh, of course, when uh, for example the building is a hospital, this condition is very can be very dangerous because maybe the patient or the visitor is they have health service leave. So the second factor that can cause finding problems is the uniformity and repetition of interior appearance. So sometimes, for the sake of the interior design, we uh, we choose the same color for all the rooms and all the corridors are just the same. But actually, the similar and undistinctive appearance of different parts of the building can cause disorientation or can uh, give trouble for visitors in uh, differentiating uh, different parts of the building. So, for example, in this the illustration that I give here, there are three corridors that are actually this is a hospital corridor. They are in the three different area. I mean, three different part of clinics. So they are in a it is they are in the polyclinics area actually, but it is from different clinics. So the first one is from the dentistry part, and the other is from uh, obstetric part, but they look the same. So it will be confusing. It can be confusing for someone new in the environment if they have to uh, find uh, maybe one specific room because that placed in one of the corridors because they just look the same. So the next one is about the difficulty. It's about the sinus factor. So sometimes uh, the lack of sinus, of course, will give difficulty for us to get information uh, to find a way to the specific destination. But in other case, too many information at one place also give difficulties for new visitors because they cannot uh, decide which way to go. The inconsistency of information, like when the direction in one place, the direction to the destination is to go somewhere, and when the visitor has arrived to the destination directed by the signage, but he found nothing. So maybe the direction will direct him to another direction. So it will be very confusing, of course. And also environmental information include also maps. So sometimes a map, although a map has been provided by the building, but the information in a map is difficult to read, or maybe it's not so informative. That of course a visitor cannot find any information that he or she needs in that map. These problems also will cause disorientation because the visitors we don't know will not know where to go. In this example, the map is the material of the map is transparent, so the picture of map is not so clear, and it's difficult to read. Okay. From that problems that we often find in a building, especially complex building, we also note that the wayfinding problem especially arise in a public building with newcomer or a new visitor come every day. So maybe the funding problem is not what happen doesn't happen often in the maybe a private building or when the visitor daily use the building, but for the building with new visitor every day, like hospital and mall. So this problem, of course, can arise. There are some environmental factors, of course, affecting wayfinding. So the first one, of course, is the building layout. Yeah. So we have to be very, very careful and design the building, especially for the big building. And second factors is the circulation system and circulation elements. This is building layout and circulation system is of course really very much because sometimes the complex building consists of also complicated circulation system, but it's not necessarily like that also. And the third one is the informational support, just like map, signage, and others. Other types, any kind or any types of signage. Of course, sometimes people always blame this informational support for the trouble in wayfinding, but wayfinding is not necessarily about signage alone. So the other three factors can should be considered in designing a good building support wayfinding supportive building. The fourth one is the interior elements. So sometimes putting interior elements can be very helpful in some way to make wayfinding more easier. Let's see one by one about this factor. Okay, about the building layout, what we have to do is the first is if possible, use a simple geometric form. Although the simple or symmetric layout is not necessarily give a simple or easier way finding, but the simple geometric do help people in understanding the environment better than the complex geometric or maybe the organic form. Why? Because wayfinding involve cognitive process or that relate to how people can understand and memorize a place. A simple geometric form, of course, is easier to remember than the complex one. So, if possible, we we as an architect should use a simple geometric form, and but not in a dull way or a boring way, but we have to make it more to be creative in using this simple geometric form. And the second one is we should create a clear spatial organization. How? The first one is we have to make a grouping rooms that have maybe the same function or is in the same department. And we have to make sure that we have made a clear spatial hierarchy. So, for example, where's the main room and where to put the maybe sub room, yeah, where which room there can be hide and which room should be open to public or should be visible to public. We have to make it very clear. So that way, people will memorize and understand the spatial organization better. So if we go to the hospital, for example, you know that you have to make sure that people can understand that the hospital is consists of a department or unit, for example, outpatient department and inpatient department, etc. And for the outpatient department, for example, consists of maybe some clinics, different clinics. So one clinics will consist of some rooms. So those hierarchies should be easily read or easily understand by the visitor. Yeah, by designing the layout that is represent the spatial hierarchy. The third things about building layout is about spatial correspondence. This often happen in the multiple floors building, where the layout of the first floor is different with the second floor, etc. The layout is not typical, and it will be very difficult, maybe rather confusing if there is not a spatial correspondence. For example, like if we give a void between floors, or we can also give the transition area between floors, like first floor main lobby in the first floor, and the second floor. If we get to the second floor, we should put the visitor into the second floor lobby first, rather than put them straight into the into corridors. Yeah, after they get to the second floor, third floor. So spatial correspondence can reduce disorientation for the visitors. So they will it will make them easier to go back to the place, to the origin, to the place where they start in the building. So and then the second one is about the circulation systems and elements. First, we have to make sure that we set a clear hierarchy of circulation. So what I mean with the clear hierarchy of circulation, we have to determine where which one is the main corridor and which one is sub corridor. That may lead to maybe supporting rooms, yeah, or which corridor lead to the main rooms. And how to set a clear hierarchy, we can make them different in maybe dimension, or maybe in the material, the finishing material, etc. So people will understand that oh, this corridor, I can go through this corridor and not that corridor. I should not go to should not enter a door to a corridor, because it will be a different. Uh, it may lead us to the different area, something like that. And the second principle is avoid a long and close corridor, because long and close corridor, people will have a close corridor, make people only have limited area of visibility, and when there are no information, they will get unsure in the middle of the corridor, and whether they have to go to continue the journey, their journey in the corridor, or they have to get back, because a long closed corridor with maybe there is no element in there, and there is no maybe activity uh, will be will make the visitor maybe feel lost. That lost. They should be sure in that journey in the building whether they are in the right path to the destination or not. So a long and close corridor should be avoided, because they can reduce the feel of making visitors sure about the right path. The third thing about circulation is about stairs and elevator. So stairs and elevators are two elements that connect a visitor from floor to floor. So it is very important that we put the stairs and elevator, yeah, especially the main one, the main stairs and elevator, in the strategic point or strategic place, like maybe in the main lobby or else. And we have to make sure that these two circulation elements are visible from many points of view. So we have to make sure that stairs and elevator are not get something that make them cannot be seen from one specific point. So they have to be visible in many points of view. So that way, people will be easy to find the stairs and elevator. Stairs and elevator, of course, is uh, uh, important points in making visitors or people in the building to get to their destination, because especially for the if the origin point and the destination point is located in the different floor, especially when they have to take maybe not just one's journey of stair or one journey of elevator, but they have to move between elevator or maybe between stairs, because of the maybe the location of the destination is in a different area, maybe in different building, but on the same floor, like that. And then the last one is we have to define the circulation nodes as decision points. Okay, talking about decision points, one of the researcher of Wayfinding in the first place, the late Romedi Plasini, he proposed the concept of Wayfinding as consists of decision making. So actually, our platform or the building layout consists of decision points. And to make it simple, the circulation nodes is circulation nodes are automatically become a decision points where a visitor should make a decision at that point. So decision point is the place where someone have to decide where to go, or whether they have to turn right or turn left, or they have to go straight or go back and turn around and go. Circulation notes is important to be considered as decision points, but although not necessarily, not only circulation notes that can become a decision points, but the important one is we should aware that if we create intersection in corridors, yeah, between corridors, so that intersection will become the circulation nodes, and the circulation nodes become decision points where a visitor needs information to help them decide where to go. So plan a decision to find a way. So the third factors, environmental factors, is the informational support. It can be map or signage with a variety of form. So the first one is that after we are aware of the decision points, we should provide that decision points in the building with the information that is in the form of map or signage. And between map and signage or other types of informational support, we have to choose the right one. The right one, which one who is best located in that decision points. And in choosing that, we have to consider the environmental condition, whether it is an open space or maybe a closed space, whether it is on the corridor or at the intersection of the corridor. And also, we have to consider user needs. Yeah. If we know the characteristic of user or visitors that using the building or visit the building, we have to consider that the condition of the user, like in maybe in the children environment. So maybe you choose maybe signage that use maybe chemical or maybe a character that is suitable for children. And also maybe for them who cannot, children who cannot read, yeah, maybe the picture is can be better as a informational support to make them remember easier the information. Also, we have to consider if the user may be a group of people with disability. So whether we choose the standing sign or hanging sign or wall sign, it will depend on the first in the environmental condition, and the second is the user's needs and user's characteristics. And of course, it is related to the third consideration about informational support. That is the placing of the signage itself. So in the issue of visibility, of course, we have to place map and signage in relation to the feasibility. So we have to maybe we have to measure, yeah, we have to have the right measure, the specific measure to make sure that the signage, the dimension of signage, maybe the type of lettering of the signage is visible. And also we have to consider how visitor will read that, in what condition the visitor will read the signage, yeah, whether they are moving or whether when they are stopped. Because while they will find, or while they navigate in the building, where actually someone will move continuously, and while moving, they will search for information by looking around. So if maybe in the white area uh, with rather wider area, so we have to maybe put signage more than in one place. So, but in the maybe in the corridor with the uh, not wide corridor, maybe we can put a signage in front of uh, uh, the the visible area in front. Yeah, so in the area in front of the person who is moving. So instead of uh, using maybe a wall sign, that is located maybe in the side of the wall beside the person in the corridor, we should maybe put signage uh, in the front front part of the uh, uh, corridor, like in this illustration. There are some signage here. So in one spot, there are more than one place to put the signage, to make sure that the people with from a different approaching from different direction will see the signage. So the fourth element is the interior element. Sometimes interior elements doesn't do a lot in uh, when finding design, but actually it helps a lot. So for example, it's about color. So color can be used to define spatial organization or cluster. So if we put different color with different area, it makes visitors easier to remember. Yes, maybe, oh, the blue one for dentistry area, the green one for the internal medicine area, like that, or maybe between floor. So I've been to the second floor. Oh, it will the area the wall is yellow. So especially colors helps a lot in the building where children is the main user. So research proves that children prefer colors as their informational environmental information for them that may help them uh, differentiate between area or floor or even a room. Yeah. So using color in walls or in the doors, yeah, can help a lot. And the second one about interior elements is making interior element as landmarks. So many interior elements can be used. It's like artworks put in the inner court or design feature of wall or floor or ceiling that marked the main lobby. So landmark is not only something uh, big or something uh, huge, but it can be some interior characteristic that is distinctive that can be that make them easy to differentiate with that is very contrast with the surrounding. With the contrast principle help us to mark a place and remember a place, and then in the future we will remember the place and make the place imageable for us. So maybe wayfinding design is not about the creation of simple, not to say simplistic building, but it is about how to design the building architecturally interesting and we're finding efficient that a building that support efficiency in wayfinding. I think that that I can share. Thank you. I will give it back to Zari.
All right. So thank you, Dr. Trian. Thank you, Dr. Triandriani, for your fruitful sharing. I think that's very interesting as architectural students could apply the the design elements that that could help the users of their building to navigate better when they are designing a specific building. I think that's very crucial in ensuring that the uh, their future projects to be more cohesive and better in general. So thank you once again for the sharing session. And I would like to open the floor to questions from the attendees. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask Dr. Triandriani about indoor wayfinding, you could drop it in the Q&A section and I'll be able to read it out loud. As for now, we don't have any questions from the students yet, but I would like to note on the fact that Dr. Triandriani actually made a very good point on the spatial hierarchy in navigating the um, in indoor wayfinding. Because I feel like every time we go through a building that is I would say well considered, there would be an element of compression and um, when we walk through a hallway, we would feel the compression effect. And when it opens up to like a foyer or something, we would feel like it's a completely opposite effect. Like for example, when we would walk uh into a hall, we would go through like a very small space and then it would elevate into something more open. So I think that's also part of the spatial hierarchy that we would feel um, in our daily lives, for example. Yeah.
Indeed.
So if there are no questions from the attendees, um, I think we could wrap this session up. Puan Dona, do you have anything to add on?
No, Zari, thank you.
Okay.
And thank you to Dr. Traindriani
Thank
for
you,
your
Dana.
for your sharing.
Oh, actually, we have a question
Okay.
from Angel. So, would room form could be one of a wayfinding?
Oh, you mean maybe a form of could be
The form of
a form could be like the factor, factor that affect the sign, of course. So just like I discussed before, that the geometric form of the not only building but inside the building is a room. So simple geometric is maybe square, like something that is that has 90 uh, 90 degree is easier to remember that. So if the room form uh, had a different form that is very contrast from the surrounding environment, of course the room itself can serve as a landmark. So it can be uh, one one point supporting supporting factor. So the room can be served as a landmark of building that make it more easier to imageable environment. So it's a good question. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I hope that answers the question from Angel. Do you have any other questions from the students? Okay, so I think that's the time that we have for today for this session. So again, I hope the attendees, especially the students. Oh, we have another question from Angel. So this could also lead to universal design for OKU for people with disabilities.
Okay. Universal. Yeah, of course. Wayfinding should consider the one with disability, especially with in public building. But we should also maybe understand the characteristic of the disability. What kind of disability are they? Are they have a visual impairment, or maybe they uh, uh, have trouble with the movement. So it should be considered in wayfinding design. Yeah, Wayfinding design related closely to the universal design. Thank you, Angel.
Okay, thank you for the answer. Hope that clears up the question for Angel. Okay, so last call for the questions. Okay, so if there's any further questions that anyone would like to ask Dr. Triandriani, perhaps Doctor could drop us your email in case we would like to
Oh,
refer to anything from you. All right, so Dr. Triandriani's email could be found in the chat section over there. So I hope if anyone has any further questions regarding indoor wayfinding, they could contact Dr. Triandriani via email. And that's the time we have for today. Thank you once again, and I wish everyone a good day ahead. Thank you.
thank you, Zari.
Thank you,
Thank
Doctor.
you, Ms.
Thank
Donna.
you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Zari.
Thank you.